Hey everybody, Spy here. Just wanted to do a quick little OBS settings video for you guys who might be interested in that or are currently scrounging YouTube for help with some kind of OBS problem. I've had plenty of those myself. So yeah, this is basically just a little summary of my settings in OBS. It's not a tutorial, but I might offer some advice if I can find any that applies to what we go over here. So yeah, without further ado, here are my OBS settings. So for general, as you can see, I just have English checked and cursor over projector. That's all stuff that's not super important. So with that in mind, we're gonna go over to encoding, which is definitely way more important. As far as my encoder goes, I have NVIDIA NVENC picked. It uses my graphics card to encode video as opposed to X264, which uses your CPU. I get a lot less frame lag from NVIDIA's encoder, and I just get better performance, and it looks better in general because, you know, less frame lag and all that. So I stick with that over that. If you're on a laptop, you might be stuck with X264, and I think a quick sync is either like Intel CPUs or like AMD or something, so I don't use it. So yeah, I can't say if it's good or not. But as far as bitrate goes, I use constant bitrate, which means it uses one bitrate quality. It doesn't vary it at all. VBR is variable bitrate, and I used that on my older videos, but it did not look nearly as good as CBR because it would drop to lower bit rates and then back up and then back down. So, you know, the quality loss is definitely more prominent in that than in CBR. The bitrate I record at is 50,000 kbs. It might seem like a lot. I was afraid it was a lot at first, but I have a 980 Ti and it doesn't seem to impact it at all. I'm not sure how that would span to other cards, but you can tweak that to your liking. Don't be afraid to do too much. Worst thing that can happen is probably like computer crashes or something, but you know, at the end of the day as well, it's probably worth it. Also, you set your buffer size to the same size as your max bitrate, or at least that's what I've heard on the OBS forums. So yeah, I don't know why that's important, but that's what they said to do, so I guess do that unless you know to do otherwise. Oh yeah, and just a quick little note before we move on to audio encoding. I do have custom buffer size checked, but there's no real point to that, so yeah, who cares. As far as audio encoding goes, I use the AAC codec. As you can see, there's either that or MP3. I think AAC is higher quality. I recorded a bitrate of 128, and the format I use is the 48 kilohertz one, just because I think that's higher quality than 41.1 or whatever. So I decided to use that. I don't really know if there's a massive difference, but it's what I record at, so there you go. And I record my audio in stereo so I can get that nice directional sound in games and all that good stuff. So yeah, there you go. That's in my encoding settings. As far as my broadcast settings go, I have it set to stream to YouTube Gaming on their primary ingest server. I have it set to auto reconnect, so if the stream drops, it's going to try to connect again instead of just dropping the stream and then I have to manually restart it. I have the delay set to 2 seconds and the timeout set to 10 seconds. I'm pretty sure those are just there by default. It might be 0 by default, but I adjust the delay based on what I need to do for it to come out okay. Automatically save stream to file. Yeah, I do that so I can edit a stream if I feel like it. I have my file saved to this location on my hard drive. That's where it saves my recordings to. You can do that with file output only, but I don't do that because I don't need to. And I haven't really messed around with the replay buffer settings, but you can see what they are right here. I do have a custom like OBS replays folder, so that's where that goes. Alright, so for my video settings, I have my graphics card set as my video adapter. I record in 1440p, which is 2560 by 1440. 16:9 aspect ratio widescreen. I don't record with any downscale, and I have my FPS set to 60 unless like a game is way too intensive for that, in which case I usually dial it down to 30. I haven't gone to 10 FPS yet, but if you guys want to see a slideshow video, that is an option. Alright, so here are my audio settings. I use my sound card, my Sound Blaster Recon 3DI that came with my motherboard. I use my Yeti as my auxiliary device. I force it to mono, which is important because you don't want people getting like ASMR in one ear and then like having their other ear go lonely from that sort of thing. So if you want to stimulate both the ears and maybe not make it as weird as I just made it, you use mono. As far as push-to-talk delay, I don't use push-to-talk, so that's not a worry for me. I have that set to 0. Desktop boost 1.1. I adjust my sound card and like mic separately from OBS, so that's not something I do in here yet. And I do have a mic sync offset. That's something you'll have to toggle with until you get your mouth to match up with your gameplay or your video or whatever. 250 has worked for me so far, but it's probably gonna vary for you, so just you have to tool around with that until you get it right. And then I just have some keybinds for hotkeys. That doesn't really matter too much. You can customize those to your liking. So yeah, nothing much going on there. And for advanced settings, I use multi-threaded optimizations because I have a multi-core CPU, so I want to take full advantage of that. I have my process priority class set to normal. My scene buffering time by default is 400 milliseconds, so I leave it there. I disable encoding while previewing. That hasn't affected me at all. Allow other modifiers on hotkeys, sure, why not? My video settings are set to high quality on the NVIDIA preset. Encoding profile is high. Keyframe interval is 2. I'm pretty sure that's either Twitch or YouTube's recommended keyframe interval, so I've left it there. I use constant frame rate or CFR for recordings because if you don't check that, you get variable FPS in your recording, so it'd be like 59, 57, and then up to 60 FPS or whatever you have your FPS capped at. And I use Premiere to edit, and it hates variable frame rate, so I have to check CFR, so I just get like a solid 60 FPS or a solid 30 FPS, depending on what I'm recording at. I don't have encode in full range checked. I'm not entirely sure what that does. I'll look into that, but for now I have it unchecked. And no platform that I've used to upload on so far it allows anything past like 60 FPS, as far as I know. So I have that unchecked as well right now. Alright, audio. I don't force my desktop audio to use my video timestamps as a base for audio time. I've adjusted that when I've had problems with OBS, but they fixed themselves, so I don't have to use that right now. I use my QPC timestamps, and that hasn't messed with me at all. So yeah, mess with that if you're having audio issues, I guess. And then I haven't really messed with my network settings at all, so you can see what they're set to right now. And yeah, that'll do it for my advanced settings. I don't mess with the quick sync encoder at all, so there's no point in looking at this. I haven't really used browser at all. I don't really know a whole lot about CSS or like coding in general or whatever, so I haven't messed with that yet. These are my settings for the microphone noise gate. I have it enabled. These aren't perfect settings. This is just what I've been using recently, so these are subject to change. But yeah, they haven't cut off my mic, or they don't leave my mic open past like a certain threshold, so there's a bunch of background noise. So it's worked for me so far. I'm still probably going to tweak that in the future. And then for Scene Switcher, I haven't really messed with this at all because I haven't used Scene Switcher in my streams yet, so that's not really something I've tooled around with. So yeah. Alright, with that said, that'll probably wrap up this OBS settings video. If I change anything in the future, I'll probably do another video. And yeah, a lot of exciting stuff on the way, so stay tuned for that. I'll probably be using these settings to record it, so yeah. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. See you later. Bye-bye.